Hey, what's going on, Teach Better fam? It's Chris here, and I am bringing you a bonus episode from last weekend's Admin Mastermind Rewind and live Q&A bi-weekly family check-in with Ray Hewitt and Dave Schmittou. We hope you enjoy the awesome conversations and discussions that took place last weekend during this event, and we hope that you follow us in the future. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and Twitter for any of these events coming up at Teach Better Team. We hope you enjoy this episode and hope it brings a lot of positivity to start your week.
Bi-weekly family check-in. Dave, we are a minute early. Do you think that everyone is totally thrown by the 60 seconds?
I think they are just throwing their ice cream, throwing their beverages, like running to their phone and devices right now because they heard that little ding or whatever notification they've got set on their phone and device, and they're scrambling right now, Ray.
I'm so sorry, guys. I promise we won't say anything meaningful within the next minute. We know that we're early, but we were ready and we were eager to see all of you. It is Sunday. We want to make sure that we answer your questions, talk shop about popular topics. I want to discuss the summer a little bit. And then obviously we are here to send some positivity in your life as we enter into this coming week that we are going to hopefully be doing incredible things. I have a really cool activity we could talk about too, Dave. So anywho, Dave and I are here to answer your questions. So in the comments right now, feel free to say hello, share this feed if you have friends that you think have questions or want to engage in our fun Sunday dialogue to kick the week off right. And we'll be, right back. Hey everyone, we are here for our bi-weekly family check-in. We get to go live every other Sunday. I tricked Dave into joining me now as of 2021. And we honestly are just here to take your questions and start your week off right. We're currently streaming 2 places on Facebook, including our private Facebook group, By the By, which you can get access to at teachbettergroup.com. We're also on YouTube and Twitter and all the other fun places. So feel free to share this feed if you are watching. Feel free to comment if you're watching. This bi-weekly family check-in was started about 3 years ago that we have stayed consistent, really just because people said, hey, we've got questions. Is there any time you guys can go live and kind of do a Q&A? And we said, sure, why not? We just never stopped. So, hey, Dave, how's your week going?
Going great. I got to tell you, I love being able to hang out with you on these Sunday nights for so many reasons. Number one, I get to hang out with you. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. But secondly, I get to just kind of sit here and watch you do your magic. A lot of other times when I'm on here, I have to click all the buttons or I have to watch Jeff Gargas try to manipulate, and I got to like rein him in. With you, I can just enjoy the show from the front row seats, and I gotta say, it's pretty fun.
I'm so glad that I'm able to click buttons better than other people that you know. That's like the most flattering compliment. There are some buttons to click when we go live. I mean, we go live like 15 times a week, but there are some tools over here that we get to click, like saying hi to Carrie and Facebook user and Mike and Kat that are here. So it's good.
Can I also have a real confession about tonight? So I've been on my computer for the better part of the day today, recording some podcasts. And when I do podcasts, I get comfortable. Might have had like Hawaiian shirts and stuff on today, but then I saw you do a little Instagram story, I don't know, about an hour ago. I was like, I better put on a black shirt because I'm getting ready to go on with Ray. I got to change. I don't want to distract away from what she's got going on. So
I think I did that Instagram story though, like in workout wear. Like I wasn't dressed. I showered after that.
See, I knew.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. You do not get bonus points for knowing that Ray Hewitt would be in a black shirt. I'm pretty sure that's known universally. Anybody in the comments, you can comment if Dave gets a point or not. Otherwise, there's no way. There's no way. I do like that we're twins, though. You got the black hat, black shirt. Like, we could do, like, a duo thing right now.
When are you going to throw on the hat and backwards? You know,
I don't actually own a hat, but I will go buy one if it means
I'm sorry, what?
I don't think I own a hat.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I can work on that, but I honestly, I'm going through my closet because, guys, I'm moving right now. So I'm like I've actually seen all my things. I don't think I own a hat.
What address do I send the hat to?
Wait, I do have a hat. Okay, long story short, Dave. When I was a child, my parents used to go to the same place over Thanksgiving. And because we went year after year, we went for 27 years straight to the same place. And what ended up happening is that we kept meeting people that also started going at the same time every year. Long story short, I'm going to get there eventually. One of the people that we used to travel with, named Ev, came to my house like 5 years ago and left a baseball cap. And I have kept it right next to my front door where he hung it. So actually upstairs by my front door, I have a baseball cap.
Okay, that works.
But I think I say baseball cap. I think it's of a hockey team. I'm pretty sure. Because he's Canadian. Did I mention that? I don't know.
Canadians play baseball too, just for the record.
But I think, I don't know. I'm going to go. Okay, guys.
Okay.
After Biweekly Family Check-In, go watch my Instagram. I will go upstairs and take a picture of the hat and post on Instagram.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. We should start. Let the betting begin. Is it baseball? Is it hockey? Is it going to be a football? Is it ring out? Like, what sport is it really? Does Ray know?
I feel like it's got to be hockey. I just have a feeling. He lives in Toronto. They're my favorite. I mean, Ev and Annabelle are like they've been second. They've been family forever, but they live in Toronto, and I think it's I don't know. I'll have to go look.
Okay,
anyway.
I'm curious now.
It was interesting though, because you did like true confessions. That wasn't where I thought you were taking our true confessions for our Biweekly Family Check-In. As the video is playing, I wanted to like secretly ask you, I'm drinking blue Gatorade, and I'm like, oh, are my teeth blue? Like, that's not good to go live with your teeth.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
There we go. Carrie says she also has a hat, so she can spare me a hat, which is good.
That's good. That's good.
I will wear one, I promise. So Dave, for Biweekly Family Check-In, we take questions. We'll eventually get to the mastermind topic. There's actually been a lot of activity in our private Facebook group. I wanted to scroll through here in a bit. I know there's a lot of educators that have been posting in there for different resources or anything else, but I have a request, if you don't mind, what we could start with.
Go for it.
Okay. So we have a lot of educators that are at the tail end of their year. It seems like some people are ending within the next 2 weeks. Some people still have 6 weeks left. They end at the end of June. But we're all kind of feeling the end is coming. And while we've had a lot of dialogue around making sure the last few weeks are intentional, keeping the right mindset, I actually would love to get your opinion on like what to do this summer. Like, do people keep schedules over the summer? Do people keep routines? Like, I don't know the answer to what my summer will look like yet in terms of a routine. Do you?
Yes, ish. I'm a person, I crave being busy. Like, I don't do well. Well, I should revise that. I can find a way to do well just sitting around doing nothing. But even doing nothing, I'm doing something. Just the nothing is normally something of my choosing. So like during the summertime, I was one of those teachers that I would always do summer school just so I could have something to do. I would always take a class just so I could have something to do. Even sitting in a hammock, it was hard for me to like take a nap. I would be reading a book or listening to a podcast or something. So my brain was constantly going. I feel like I always have to be doing something. I don't necessarily have a routine, like get up at 7 a.m. and do this, and then at 2 p.m. do this. I think this summer I'm going to, because there's so much stuff going on in the world that I'm going to want to be like attuned to. But I got to tell you, staying busy is necessary for me. I envy people that are able to just take some downtime and say, I'm just going to go where the winds take me all summer long.
Right. I feel like I can do nothing for about 2 or 3 days. Like I can confidently, legitimately do nothing outside of chilling with the dogs, going on vacation, like all that's fine. But after about day 3, I'm kind of like, okay, what's the plan? And like truly for the past however many years I've been with the Teach Better team, summers, I kind of like go into like, oh, I'm just going to work on Teach Better full time. So I always have some sort of like project. Yeah. There's something, guys, there's always something going on with the Teach Better team that somebody can be working on. But yeah, like setting an alarm and like going to bed at a certain time, like those are things. I don't know what my plan is this summer, what I'm going to do. Like
you've only got a few weeks left, right? You've got a few weeks left. And then like June begins the summer of Ray.
Yeah.
Do you do you plan? Are you scheduling time to take those 2 or 3 days off and just relax? Because even today, it's 70 degrees outside and sunny. You were working all day long, Ray.
Not all day. I went on a 3.5 mile walk with the dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's work, though. That's hard work.
It was fun. Yeah, so I think I did schedule. I have a vacation I'm taking at the end of July. I'm going to be gone for an entire week.
Love it.
I know. So like that's time away. Although I am speaking at 2 conferences during that time because they just so happen to be scheduled that week. So like, and they're virtual. So I'm going to be part of that. But again, like a week's working 2 days. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
Okay.
But this summer, I think I'm trying to get into a routine because of my move. So I'm moving from having a backyard to let the dogs out to a space where I need to put the dogs on a leash.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have to like plan my summer, I kind of want to plan, like, am I going to get up in the morning? Do I go on a walk with the dogs right away? Knowing that, you got to throw them on a leash. So do we like make an activity out of it every morning? Or I don't know. I don't know what to do.
And just for the record, Ray, you know that this summer is really like the rest of your life. You realize that, right? Like
whatever.
The new routine that you start in June is the routine. So be careful. Be careful.
Well, but to that point, if you like really, let's look at summers. Like all of our teachers out there, as you're thinking about your summer, if you're thinking about family, lifestyle, personal goals you might have, professional goals, sure, like you can work over the summer. Although I really do encourage a lot of educators to take time, like we are talking about right now. There is some reality to like, yeah, I don't want to sleep my summer away. I don't want to get out of the habit of waking up early to then have to eventually get into a time where I have to start getting up early. Like, I don't know that I want to get out of the routine.
So I'm going to geek out a little bit here. I was listening to a podcast this week, and it was a fitness type of podcast. And the host was talking about this concept called periodization. And in essence, with periodization, you're supposed to like train and then put a period on your training and literally take some time to just do nothing and then start the new cycle of training and then put a period on it. Like you're not supposed to do like some cross training and do something. You're literally supposed to just put a period on it and end. And he said, you're supposed to do it with your eating. You're supposed to do it with fitness. You're supposed to do it with work. You have to legitimately have a goal and say, I'm going to put a period on something at the end of this to start a new cycle for something. So I guess maybe there's some reality to that. When you see your last day, put a period on it and say, that's going to be the end of this for a while. Take some time to breathe and then start again.
So I'm really worried about sleep. So that could apply to sleep. Like you were going to get up early and then not get up early for a period of time. Doesn't that mess your body up?
I think if you get a lot of sleep, it's good for your body. It's like I could definitely benefit from something like that where I force myself to just stay in bed for a little while longer. At least stay in bed till the sun comes up or something. I don't sleep very well. So if I could force myself to get some sleep for even a period of like a week or so, I guarantee it would do me some good. I guarantee it would.
I do have to say, Dave, we have a lot of comments and I do want to get your comments. So keep commenting, guys. We're not ignoring you. We'll get to them. But one of the comments that just came up is Carrie, who's jumping in, who, by the way, shout out to Carrie, who runs the Teach Better blog at teachbetter.com/blogs, which, by the way, has published like 1.5 million blogs this week. No big deal. I looked at it today and I was like, holy cow, I can't, whatever. Side point. She said she needs a routine to function. I think I'm kind of like Carrie, where at least if I have, like, I need to have a goal for the day or like a purpose in my day, or I kind of feel icky at the end.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah.
Do you
1,000%. So, so have you ever done the True Colors personality test?
No, but my mother was just telling me about this. So
we'll do this offline sometime, or we can even do it online sometime. We'll have some fun with it, but I guarantee that you've got some gold in you. The gold personality, there's 4, there's gold, there's green, there's blue, and orange. Gold is the person that after they do a bunch of stuff, they have to go back and write the to-do list just so they can go back and cross all the things off that they accomplished. Like that is you. You are a checklist type of girl, right? And that's awesome because you balance the people like me. I'm green, and green, like I've got literally 4 notebooks in front of me right now, all with a couple of different little notes. And I'm like I'm like big picture guy, and trying to shrink it all down so I can actually create a list is overwhelming for me. I need people like you that say, oh, what is the first thing that you wrote down? Just go do that first. because otherwise I just spin aimlessly wandering around the house finding something to do. I need somebody to say, go do this.
Okay. Good to know. And I think knowing our strengths and knowing like our colleagues, our friends' strengths do allow us to all function better together, right?
Oh,
I mean, that's like our joke.
I'm artistic and you're not. Oh, no?
Yes. You're so artistic, Dave. But that's kind of like what I like about even just the Teach Better team or even our Teach Better community, you people in the comments that I consider, like good friends of mine, like getting to know their personalities, their likes, their dislikes, their strengths, their weaknesses. If we could all work as hard as possible to operate as much as possible in our areas of strength, then it doesn't mean we're not growing, but it does mean that we feel successful and we're able to support others with the attributes we have.
Yeah, totally. It's living in the strengths. Got to stop the deficit mindset, figure out where people excel and build around it.
So is it practical for me this summer to still set an alarm in the morning, but maybe it's not at 4:30, right? Maybe it's like 7. So you're still waking up to an alarm. You're still waking up with intention. If you get up early, great. I could still plan my like 4-3 times that I'm going to like take a break and go let the dogs out. I can still plan that one of those could be a long walk, whether it be in the morning or the midday. I think those are good times. Like I could put a little bit of structure, but not be like hour by hour like I am right now on my calendar.
I think it's healthy. Absolutely. And I would say if you're going to sleep until 7, just make sure you're not staying up till 3. Like, don't just compensate and say, I can sleep in later so I can stay up later, right?
I'm sorry. There's a 3 in the morning? I only know the afternoon one. Those happen twice?
So I've been told. So maybe that's just here in the East Coast with the Eastern time. So maybe the Central time zone doesn't have that. Yeah.
Central doesn't have that. The only 3 o'clock I know is like after lunch, just to be clear. Do you stay up late? Is that you?
No. Well, I wake up. So I will crash. I will literally fall asleep right here on the floor next to me if I could. I can fall asleep like that anywhere, anytime, but it's the staying asleep that gets me up. My mind's just always racing with the next thing I have to do. So I'll wake up and jot down notes of some things I need to do or find my phone and write some notes and fall back asleep for a little bit. And that cycle just repeats all night long.
Okay. I need every single person who's listening. If you're listening and your phone's like across the room, but it's loud enough where you can hear, I need everybody to go to their device that they are listening to this on and go to the comments. I'm going to give you a prompt. So you can type it on your phone or on your computer. I don't know where you're all watching. I need you to type in the time that if it was up to you, meaning no kids, no stress, no whatever. If it was up to you, what time would you go to bed? I need to know that. Like, would you go to bed at, because my answer just
8:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mine would be 7:30. Just
okay. So we've got Ray for another 13 minutes, people.
Seriously. Okay, maybe not asleep by 7:30, but I like to be like sitting in bed by 9, asleep by 10.
Oh yeah.
Like, is that lame? I feel like that makes me an old lady. I think I'm supposed to stay up later, but I can't even stay up later. Like if I was out being social, like a cool person, which I clearly am not, it's like, it's 9 o'clock. Bye guys.
Yeah, I am. Yes. I actually sleep better like on the floor or on the couch than in bed. Like I can anywhere, anytime. I could just tell me a story, Ray. I could drift off right here.
Man, that's really good to know. I do like a lot of 8:30, 9:30. So we're all kind of like losers together. This is good. I think that, you know what? Surround yourself with good people, like-minded people. There we go. We're 8:30, 9:30 sleepers. What do you want from us?
There you go. But then again, we're also up super early doing the stuff while everybody else is sleeping. So I think we carry the day.
What time do you get up, Dave?
Normally between 4 and 5.
Yeah, that's about. I do this summer want to do like a 6:30, 7 o'clock.
That sounds nice. Isn't that crazy? And the fact you're getting old because that's now sleeping in, right?
Right, that's sleeping in. Oh,
that's crazy.
Okay, but here's the dilemma, and we're not actually going to talk about this because, by the way, there's been comments we're ignoring, and I know we have other things to talk about, and I'm not allowed to talk about what we're about to talk about. But Dave, there's a rumor. There's something coming in the Teach Better world next fall that has to do with the morning. That's what I heard.
Okay, so the morning, because last I heard there was debates about whether it was morning or not. So I'm glad that at least that part's been decided, that hypothetically a rumor about morning happening. Okay, that's good.
I heard a rumor there's a morning situation coming into our world. However, what is morning when we are on Central, Eastern, and Pacific time zone, friends? What is morning? Why don't we all do that activity? I don't want to know.
Well,
Like here.
well, we know we know when morning is, but when is like productive, getting a shower, getting breakfast morning? Like, is that what you want to know? Or like when is drive to work morning? When do you wake up morning? Like what kind of morning do you want to know?
Well, the problem is when you're operating in 3 time zones that range 3 to 4 hours, there is no answer. It doesn't even matter what your answer is because it's wrong. That's really it.
Well, to be fair, this summer, this fall, I am becoming a central time zone convert. So I would argue that this fall, central time zone needs to start ruling the day. You've convinced me.
Yes, I'm so glad that I've convinced you to go central time zone. That makes me so happy. I would say like during a typical year, not COVID, morning for me would be like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Like that's what I consider morning. I'm getting up.
So that's like a 3-hour span there, right?
Well, but because we have multiple time zones. I'm just like, so I'm getting up, I'm getting dressed, I'm driving to work. Like my brain is waking up. I think that's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And it looks like people are like, Danielle says 5 a.m. That's too
okay.
early.
So just about this random hypothetical, maybe rumor thing. So if people are saying that morning is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and you're looking for a new routine that will become your new normal, are we saying that your new normal is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock? Right? Is that what you were sort of saying?
This is my problem, Dave, is because that rumor of what might be coming in the fall is tentatively set for a very early start time.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get up at that very early
So
time.
people, what Ray is telling you is drop a lot of 9 and 10 o'clocks in the comments right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Just help her out right now.
Because the deal is, it's like a morning over the summer is different than a morning when school starts. Yeah. But I don't want to always live in the world where school's going on because sometimes it's nice to sleep till 7. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to set my alarm for 5 a.m. I just don't. Yeah. Anyway. All right. I'm done with my therapy session.
Awesome.
I do like all the comments in here. Thank you guys for commenting, throwing ideas in here. There's a bunch of stuff that people have been commenting, not only participating in our discussion, but also in what they're looking to talk through. I did want to not ignore Brittany's comments. Yes. I want to hear about the Lego suits, Ray. We had to state testing next week. Thought suits would be fun. Looking forward to. Dave, did I tell you about the Lego suits?
Yeah, so I want to kind of set the stage for this because I know a little bit about this, but there might be other people that aren't as obsessed with you on Instagram as I am and follow like your every move here. So in your classroom right now, you're running solo again. No more student teacher in your classroom.
I know. So I like to teach.
So now that the responsible one is out of the room, you've got kids running around the classroom with scissors in hand again, right? So basically the responsible teacher is gone. Ray is back in charge. And you said, let's just turn the kids loose with scissors because 11-year-olds with scissors at the end of the year, that's how we finish strong, right?
Yep.
Okay. So walk us through this. What is this Lego suit thing that you're doing right now? Which is honestly, people, if you're not following Ray on Instagram, follow her and you'll see the play-by-play of this. It's pretty epic. So kids are building Lego suits.
Yeah. So I love this unit. I have a lot of units that I really, really enjoy. This is like top 5, for sure top 10, but probably top 5 favorite units I get to do with students. Because at the end of the year, with how our pacing guide goes, because for all of you that don't know, I'm a 6th grade math teacher, and they leave all the geometry until the end of the year, which, by the way, makes no sense, but that's neither here nor there. So we have all these geometry standards that all these teachers are just trying to shove down students' throats at the end of the year. And so a lot of it is just like this strange way of thinking at the very tail end of the year. We've already state tested, whatever. So one year I was discussing with somebody who had a contact with Lego, and you know that I do community outreach opportunities. I like to have community and organizations sponsor my math units to put my students in real world situations. And so in talking to someone at Lego, they're like, we'll sponsor something. And I'm like, what in the world do you do when Lego says yes, but you don't have anything like interesting at the end of the year to connect them? And I'm like, wait, we could do a geometry unit. So what we ended up doing is all my students in every class hour across all my classes are building a life-size Lego suit that a member of that specific class hour has to be able to wear and compete in an Olympic competition during our last week of school. So like all these students, especially with COVID, it actually worked out beautifully because they're in groups of 2 and they're making one body part. And so depending on their body part, they're using different elements of geometry, different elements of measurement. It is literally the funniest thing ever. And every year, Dave, this is a phase I'm in right now because it's due on Friday. Every year at this point, I'm like, we're never going to do it. They're not going to pull it off. There's no way. There's still students that are like figuring out their sketch. And I'm like, this is due in 4 days. What's your plan? And they always make it happen. And it's always the most incredible experience.
So we'll circle back to the fun part of this in just a second, but I've got to geek out. I've got to go Administrator Dave on this for a second because I'm going to geek out and just sing your praises as much as I can about this because it's so cool. So first of all, I love how you said this is your unit. For other people that are listening out there, I have reviewed a lot of curriculum materials. I have read a lot of math textbooks before. I have never once turned to the Lego suit unit in my textbook as a unit to cover. So I love how when you describe this unit, it's not something that was handed to you as here is the unit. You must teach kids how to make Lego suits. Love that. I love also, this is where I'm really going to geek out as an administrator now, the aspect that this is happening after state testing. So in 6th grade math, the fact that in your pacing guide, your district plan, this was placed after state testing was very strategic because in 6th grade, there's this assumption that all this geometry stuff probably doesn't appear in mass on the 6th grade state assessment. Otherwise, it would have been happening ahead of time. But did you know this is an interesting fact? From 8th grade to 11th grade, geometry accounts for more than 50% of all math concepts taught. So you are teaching it though, so that kids will actually remember it. You're not just saying, go out there and memorize the formula for circumference of a circle. You're giving it so the kids will remember this. You're teaching in 6th grade, and they're going to need it from 8th through 11th grade, and they will remember it because of these awesome Lego suits you're making them wear. So that is so cool.
I appreciate it. I think that my favorite part of this unit is that, by the way, for all of you listening, I do this in a grid. So if any of you are interested, I can literally share my grid with you. But a lot of this work isn't done in the grid. Similarly to what a lot of people are like, hey, Ray, can you share your grid with me? And I'm like, I can. But the teachable moments aren't in the grid. It's just the basics. So in the basics of my grid, level 1 is basic understanding. I intentionally put in things that I know they know. Like they get through all of level 1 in 1 day in theory, because it's like, what is perimeter? And the kids are like, Miss Hewart, we know what perimeter is. But then they actually get into the building. When you give them the cardboard and the scissors, which by the way, that never ends up well, just so you guys know. Every day we go through like a little chant that we all find funny. We laugh through it and then we're like, scissors are sharp. Do not touch your hand with scissors. It's funny. Anyway, so we get into they've done their sketch, we get into the cutting, and then that's when the teachable moments happen, when they actually start caring about the measurements because they're measuring a model of a student in the classroom and they actually need the leg to fit, because if it doesn't fit, they have to start over. Or they have a curve they want to make, and they always start by like drawing a circle. And then they look at it and they're like, well, that's not a real circle. And then I'm like, I might have a tool. And then I go and I look and I'm searching and I'm like, will you come look? And then we pull out a compass and I'm like, could this help you? And they're like, so we play with compass, we figure it out. And then they're like, you can draw a perfect circle and you can measure how big you want the circle using a compass. Oh my gosh, now a compass is really valuable. It's just really cool to watch. Like, so fun.
All right, I want to geek out on 2 more things now because you're getting me fired up here, Ray. So I told you I love Sunday nights because and not only do I not have to click buttons, but I learn from you, and I'm just like, yay, you're doing all the right things. I love this.
You're fun.
Okay. So the geeky moment again. we've talked about this before, how 95% of the things that we do in classrooms works, but some things work more than others. And what you're doing, aside from teacher collective efficacy, which means a lot of teachers talking about the right things and doing things the same way, the next highest indicator, the next highest thing, the most impactful thing you can be doing in classrooms is providing students feedback. Feedback is the best teacher available, which means kids have to be doing things while you walk around and just kind of support and guide and nudge, as opposed to you just standing in front of a lectern and preaching to kids. Feedback creates lasting learning and lasting opportunities. So yay, love that this is what you're doing at the end of the year, not just sitting back saying, it's kickball day, guys, let's go play kickball. It's the end of the year, the test is done. You're actually instilling kids with opportunities to learn and grow. But another thing I want to talk about, maybe we can circle back to this, because this is something I wanted to ask about when I was looking at the Facebook group this week. This idea of you could just give people the grid, but it's probably not going to have as much magic as we hope for when you just give the grid. So can we circle back to that eventually and talk about how that works or doesn't work for people?
Absolutely. No, I think that makes it that is a very important topic. And we can even touch on it now. The only thing I was going to add to that is it does become like an epic competition at the end, because all the Lego suits, the materials are kept in my room. And if you follow my Instagram, I literally tape off boxes that are all the same size so nobody can complain. And anything in the box is safe. Anything outside the box, somebody can steal. So if you have a piece of cardboard that's outside your square, any class can take it and use it. But if it's in your box, it's safe. And what ends up happening is that you begin to see these Lego suits being built, and other classes, you can't touch it, but you can start being like, oh my gosh, their Lego head looks so good. We got to change our design. And that's what this week's going to be. A lot of seeing the torso, seeing the legs, seeing the hands, the arms, and students being like, well, Miss Hewer, I saw that, and now I have a different idea, and adapting. I really love that phase. But
so cool. And you just gave me an epic parenting plan from this week. Any pair of socks that are just laying out and aren't put in a drawer, I'm taking them. Any toy that I see laying out, I am taking it. I love that. Thank you for that.
I'm not giving you parenting advice, Dave. Let's talk about that though, the grid, because I know a lot of people the Lego suits are really fun. I like sharing materials, and I like stealing materials from other people. I mean, all of you that are listening, I'm sure I've emailed you or asked you if I could steal something, or I stole something from you and you didn't even know because you showed a picture and I was like, I'm doing that. And I didn't even give you credit when I stole it. But yeah, when you take a full grid, you take a full unit from another teacher, it's kind of like taking what's in the textbook and putting it in your classroom. There's no ownership that comes with that. And then with that ownership, there's also a lot of resources and tools that I might have access to that as you as a teacher don't have access to. That's a whole nother layer. Mm-hmm. And then my grids also don't include everything I do. And so you're kind of only getting the bare bones. And sometimes, and to be honest, a lot of the time when I'm working with teachers, I can tell them that. And they're like, hey, Ray, it's just really helpful to get the bare bones. I'm planning on adding to it. And when they add to it, then, oh my gosh, take everything I have. I'm in full support. But when teachers only take something and duplicate, it doesn't end up as impactful, because you didn't have your students in mind with your curriculum and your community and your teaching style. I mean, not everyone teaches like me, and they shouldn't.
Right.
So it's really hard. Dave, I know this was before Dave time, which seems, what was Teach Better before Dave? Nothing.
That's like 3 a.m. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. But I vividly remember, and I'm going to lay out the story. I was sitting in a grocery store community room with Tiffany Ott and Chad Orszowski and Jeff Gargis. And we were in front of a whiteboard in this community meeting space. And we were discussing if Teach Better was going to start a grid library. And this was what year would have this been? 2017. I'm making that up. I have no idea. But we were literally, it was 2-3 years in. And we were like, should we start a grid library of housing every grid every teacher is willing to share? And we had an hour-long discussion on it. We eventually said no. And it came down to one simple concept, to the fact that I don't want to hand you a fish. I want to teach you how to fish, because standards change, students change, teachers change, leadership changes. And I don't want to give you a resource that's only useful up until you come against a hurdle. I want to teach you how to overcome the circumstances in front of you by utilizing skills that are going to work in every situation that you're in, regardless of the type of educator you are. And so we didn't. And there's some guilt. Like, I think it's nice to have resources. Definitely we love to share, but I really still believe in that concept.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you do, because I think it's powerful. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was down looking at houses, trying to figure out what was going to be my home, what was going to work for me. And I remember I went into a new build. I was looking at new construction, thinking maybe this is where I'm going to go. And I walked through this new build. All the walls were white. Everything was like nice corners. Everything was perfectly chiseled. And it was a great house. But I remember talking to the lady, and as we were talking through my family dynamics and all of the things that are important to me, she said, well, just keep in mind, this is just the model. We can customize this for your family and your needs. And that spoke loudly to me, especially with what you were just saying. I think sometimes it's nice to have that model, as long as we recognize that it still needs to be customized for your needs, for your class, for your kids, for your students. But I think that this is one of the things that we collectively struggle with. I know I struggled with it too. Yeah. When I was a classroom teacher, I spent a lot of time with my students teaching things that I'll be very real and very honest and say that they were very surface level things. I would teach my students to memorize a whole lot of things because that was easy for me to check off and easy for me to grade and easy for me to teach and easy for me to make lesson plans on. And it was a safe place. And in those situations, it would have been easy to get somebody else's lesson plan or their grid or their whatever it was to say, how do you get kids to memorize this stuff?
Right.
But we're at a different age now when we recognize the importance of relationships. We understand the importance of customizing, to teaching each student to reach every student and all of those things, which means it's the same thing for you as an educator. You got to find something and then make it yours and own it and do the work to make it yours. So I'm glad that you're out there sharing the ideas and giving people the blueprint, knowing full well that people can customize the space, customize the room for themselves and for their own kids.
So on the flip side, Dave, like keeping with houses, I mean, have any of you listening, feel free to comment. There's already comments we're going to go back to, but or you, Dave, when you were touring houses, that you walked into a house and it wasn't the right feel. Yeah. Therefore, even from walking in, you're like, I don't like brown walls, so I can't live here. And yet the reality is you can always paint the wall. Like you can, that's like anything. Even if someone does hand you a grid, even if they said, hey, this is done for you, you can still change it. Like just because it's there. Yeah.
Up until a couple of weeks ago, I was obsessed with watching House Hunters because I was going through the phase of I got to get myself ready to buy a house. Yep. And how many people on House Hunters go through these houses and say, but it's got a pink wall, and you're like, paint the stupid wall. It's everything that you just described. Just paint the wall. Just go through the extra work to customize that little detail for yourself. But sometimes we can't get past that. We see one little thing and we write it off and we're not going to go there. So yeah, I can totally relate to that completely.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And, it's just the reality of the life we live right now is sometimes the easy way out feels right, but we have to acknowledge that there's more of an impact if we put ourselves into it and if we put our audience into it. And so our audience, the people we work with, the students that we work with, have to be involved in these decisions for sure.
So how do we balance then? What is the answer to this? Because you this Lego concept that you do with your kids, I like how you introed this and talked about where it came from. It wasn't you were just laying in bed one night and poof, this idea of let's just make Lego suits popped into your head. It came from a conversation, it came from a moment, it came from an experience, and you decided to build upon that. Is that something that you work hard to encourage other people to do? Is just open yourself up, have conversations with people, ask the questions, learn, and then make it your own?
I mean, absolutely. I had a student teacher one time, Amber Stringer, who she probably has been teaching now for like 3 or 4 years. I want to say, I think she's in like the Schaumburg, Illinois area. I don't keep in contact with her, but I think the world of her. And she was somebody who I was lesson planning with. This must have been it must have been longer than 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago. I was lesson planning with her and she was struggling to connect a concept to a real world application. And I kind of had this moment because I was like, you are an incredible educator. And I was like, how are you struggling with this? This wasn't that she was like incapable of the skill, but she really found this like block in her creativity. And I realized that our inspiration for what we do with our students should and can come from a multitude of areas. So whether you're looking at your standards and you're saying, okay, how does this content apply to the real world? And then how do I bring that real world into the teaching of the content? Or in this situation, honestly, I was handed a creative opportunity and I said, is there content that I could link these together with? And so it's kind of like going backwards. And so I think regardless of the type of educator you are, you should constantly be thinking about not only the standards you have and how you can support them, but also what exists right now that you enjoy. And if you enjoy it, why can we not bring it into our classrooms, right? How many times are we sitting over the summer playing a silly pool game and you're thinking, oh, I could do this game in my classroom, right? Like that's a moment where you can say, okay, if I can bring this in my classroom, what type of content can I put with this? What would that activity look like? So I think those type of realities is kind of the beauty of us making sure that we have a personal life, because our personal life can inspire great moments.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And one more thing I want to give you credit for in this, because I think that you do this masterfully, and I don't know that people give you enough credit for it. You do a lot of extended learning with kids and helping them prepare for their futures and careers and letting them see things that are out there. But something else that you do really well is you recognize that 11-year-olds are 11-year-olds, right? And you embrace the fact that they're goofy and awkward and hairy and hormonal, and they got all this weird stuff going on. And totally smelly, like beyond smelly, especially right now, like this time of year. They've had a whole year to ferment and it's starting to get rough. But you embrace that. You have 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds now creating Legos and loving it. Like there's a lot of geometric things that you could do with the kids. You could have them go out there and measure things out in the quote unquote real world and plan for careers 15, 20 years from now. But instead you're like, no, let's just embrace where you are right now as a kid and just have fun, embracing the fact that you are weird and crazy and goofy. And you won't admit that you still play with Legos, but I know you do. So let's just do some Lego stuff right now. That is awesome. Celebrate that kids are kids and teach them today.
Okay, I love getting all these accolades. Dave, you can call me every day and tell me how great I am. But like, to be honest, let's also actually think through how this went. I didn't start with this idea, guys. Like when I was partnering with Lego, I actually wanted to figure out a way to get Legos in my classroom, and then I couldn't. So I guess my challenge to all of you is like, so what was that thing that you couldn't? And then you stopped brainstorming, right? Like building a life-size Lego suit is about the dumbest idea ever because it's really hard to do. It never works. You need a lot of supplies and stuff. But it's easier to get cardboard and duct tape than it is to get a classroom set or 8 classroom sets of Legos, right? So as you're thinking as a teacher, how can I bring these experiences in? I really want to encourage everybody, like there are 1,000 ideas that didn't end up happening based on this or any unit I do, because there's always going to be a hurdle. But how can you brainstorm anyway and like kind of move past what maybe was your vision to what could be your vision? Does that make sense?
Oh, that's so good. Just today, I was having a conversation with Alex Calderon. He's got a podcast in the Podcast Network, and he and I were chatting. And
I just talked to him this week too. That's so cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. He's educator out of Queens, New York, like doing awesome things, but he's a first-gen teacher, like first-generation American teacher. And as he and I were talking, he was talking about all these obstacles that kept coming into his way and all these things. And not once did he frame them as obstacles. He kept saying, and here's something I learned from this situation. And here's something I learned. We're talking about when he was getting ready to go to college. When he was finishing high school, his grades weren't where they should have been in comparison to everybody else. So his school offered him this extra class that he could go to as a supplement. And I'm hearing this thing, there's no way I'm jumping through a hoop after a senior in high school to do this extra thing to go to college. And he looked at it and said, it's this opportunity for me to go change my life. I'm just like, that is amazing. And that's what you're talking about. There are some people that see things as obstacles and some people that see them as opportunities. Embrace whatever it is that you want to do and find a way to get it done.
Well, and the reality is, Dave, is like, yes, but when it gets hard, don't quit because you're working on something on your own. Like go reach out to a friend to brainstorm with you. I mean, I saw Katie Miglin was commenting in here earlier. I know we have some comments we still need to get to, but like Katie is somebody that when I'm stuck, I don't say, gosh, Ray, you're stuck. You better figure it out. I go to somebody else and I'm like, so this is where I'm looking to do, and this is the hurdle I ran into, but like, this is what I'm looking to do. So is there a way that this hurdle can like not be a problem right now? Or do you have like a different direction I can take this? And having those brainstorming partners is invaluable in my world right now. I mean, I have to have them.
We all do. You got to have those people that you're willing to make a fool of yourself in front of, to feel foolish in front of, to feel ignorant in front of, or to just brainstorm and grow in front of. So, yeah.
Which kind of leads into, in a lame way, what the mastermind serves as. Which I know, like, we don't have to talk about the mastermind. I know that's something that we do get into on our biweekly family check-ins, but in some capacity, the mastermind was created to just be a space for people to brainstorm and kind of do what we just said, where somebody says, hey, I have this problem. I have this thing I'm working through. Does anyone have a resource I can use, a perspective I haven't considered? Can anybody empathize with me and share how they've overcome this in their own life? I mean, I've really seen a lot of that brainstorming in the mastermind sessions.
And it's true. It's legitimate. And I love it because I think it is the epitome of leadership when people can come together and try to sort through things. Leadership is not about having the answers and making people go do your bidding. That's not what leadership is. Leadership is unpacking things, learning, and collectively growing. It's kind of a lame example, but it's a real example. This Thursday, I think it was just this past Thursday, we were part of a meeting. And in the meeting, I mean, there was lots of unpacking, and when the meeting got done, we were all just looking at each other like, what do we do with this now? We have no idea. Let's just sleep on this for a few days. And I remember
it was Friday. Was it
Friday? I don't know what day it was.
Friday.
Was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday because Friday was a marathon day of meetings. Yes.
Yes. My head was spinning. We did talk for a while, and then we were like, I don't know where we take this conversation.
And I remember somebody looked at me and said, are you comfortable with this, Dave? And honestly, it's such a refreshing thing to be a part of, to hear other people that you look up to, that you think are brilliant, look at each other and say, I don't know, let's figure this out together. And it's okay not to have the answers right now. Because so often in leadership circles, we all walk in thinking we're supposed to have it all figured out, or at least playing the game and acting the part. And when we don't know, we just make up answers and we start screaming them even louder to try to make people think that we know what's happening. And the beautiful thing about Mastermind is we all walk in every Tuesday saying, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Let's help. And it's so refreshing. It's so good. And I think that's why all of us leave those meetings so energized, not just because misery loves company, although that's part of it, but because we're okay to just open up and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help? And then we leave, pun intended, just a little bit better than when we entered. So.
Well, and I do have to tell you, Dave, like it's not a negative, but it's the truth. Like I've been to masterminds where it like for Teach Better I know they happen in the morning and in the afternoon. I usually make the afternoon one more consistently because it's better time for me. But I've been in them where somebody has asked a question and there's been a boatload of suggestions. And I've also been in them where someone asks a question and everyone's like, that sucks. I don't know. Like, and like the reality is it's like both masterminds in those situations end just fine. But sometimes you get resources, sometimes you get ideas, sometimes you get a brainstorming partner, sometimes you just get like sympathy. And like all of that is helpful in some capacity.
Oh, and it is, because what's happening is you're forming relationships. One of the things that we say that trust matters more than almost anything else in any relationship, but trust only happens when there's transparency and vulnerability. You're not going to trust unless you can be vulnerable and real, or unless you know the other person is as well. And that's what builds a lasting relationship, is trust. So our Tuesday meetings, that's what they're really designed around, is just to establish some trust so that we can grow in a relationship going forward. Just like what we were talking about the Facebook group, and people ask questions and they lean into each other. It's not this static thing or where it's question, answer, everything's solved. It truly becomes this community, and people add to the conversation, and the conversation grows and evolves, and then other people chime in with something that they've learned. And that's what happens with Mastermind. We come together for an hour on Tuesday, but then all week long, the conversation continues and people continue to add to it and add to it. They've slept on these thoughts for a couple of days and then they add to it again. And where we are a week after, so like when we come together in just a couple of days for our next Tuesday meeting, we're all going to be so much better than we were last Tuesday just because of the conversations we've been a part of all week long.
But every group needs this, Dave. Like I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
But like Like
Yes.
mastermind's
Yes.
great. And we could be doing this. We could be offering for teachers, for
Oh,
coaches.
yes, please.
You could break it into, I know there's like a lot of administrators in Mastermind, but you could break it into roles of administrators because each role has their own hurdles. I could see this broken into like a math teacher exclusive mastermind. Because math teachers, I need my math people to talk through brainstorming. And sometimes it's nice to brainstorm with English teachers and social studies teachers and everything in between. But sometimes a math teacher brainstorming session with another math teacher adds a different element of that too.
Yeah, and we see this already happening. People are so desperate for any space. The admin mastermind, we have teachers that show up saying, "I just need somebody to collaborate with. Can I collaborate here?" It's already happening, and you're so spot on. We just need a safe space where we can collaborate, where we can just grow together with people that have the same struggles, who we can lean into and say, help support me. Don't evaluate me. Don't ding me for not knowing. Don't say, oh, you should know this by now. Just help grow. And you're so right. It is so needed. And there are so many different levels of this that we could or should be doing.
All right. If you're listening right now, guys, we're just going to keep asking you guys questions to throw in the comments. I want to know, like, what type of mastermind would serve you well? Because I won't lie. I love the admin mastermind. It actually became a thing because of COVID. Because while COVID was going on, we were doing a lot of support for teachers. And then at some point there was, I won't call them out, but there was an admin who was like, what about us? We were like,
right.
Oh yeah, let's pay attention to you. And that's actually, I think, Dave, how you got like tricked onto coming onto the team.
Yeah.
Was because we were like, hey, dude, you got a job right here to do. And
bait and switch. Yep.
But if you're listening right now and you feel like you would benefit from a mastermind, throw it in the comments. And if there's a way for us to pull it off, we'll try and do it. I mean, right now, mastermind for admin meets twice on Tuesdays. It meets in the morning and it meets in the afternoon. You don't have to come to both, but like, it's just whatever works best for your schedule. And it's completely free. It's just a Zoom link. People just hop on and talk shop. So if you're an educator listening right now and price isn't the concern because it's a free event, like what type of mastermind would you participate in? Would you benefit from? I think that would be really interesting. So yeah, it's a cool group. What was the topic? I know we only have a few minutes left of our time because we've already been live for like 51 minutes, but was there anything that was going on for the past 2 weeks that came up as a theme?
Yeah. So we talk about this theme. It seems like it's similar. And this is the beautiful thing. Literally, this past week, we had people join us from 4 countries for our Tuesday evening mastermind. We had Australia, Canada, the US, and Colombia were all represented. And there was this common conversation that came up, which was professional learning and PD and growing teachers. And how do you help teachers grow? And I think a lot of it's because we're in the evaluation time and lots of feedback is being provided, plus school improvement stuff is happening. A lot of school districts right now are being flooded with ESSER funds, and they've got all kinds of cash right now that they're sitting on thinking, how can I just help my teachers grow and improve? And so there's this cool conversation that took place between, is it the administrator's job to tell teachers, here's the training you're going to get, or should teachers have the ability to come forth and say, here's the PD that I want or need? And there was this interesting dynamic that was taking place amongst the administrators. Some were saying teachers will be professional and they'll always choose the right stuff. And some were saying, well, some teachers will choose what's easiest. Do you get the PD and frame it around the best of us, or do you get the PD and frame it around the neediest of us? Like, how do you customize it so that everybody gets what they need and what they want? And what is the PD du jour right now? What is the thing that everybody's trying to eat up? So great conversations.
Can I ask, like, I know this is a foolish question, but like, did you get an answer? Like, is that a dumb question? I feel like I have an opinion, but I don't know if it's like the popular opinion.
So there's 2 different things that come up in this. One is the who and the how. Like, how do you even structure this, and how do you provide what everybody needs? And then what is the thing that you should be making available? So in terms of the what, we did not come up with a consensus. And that's the cool thing about this too, is everybody can just share their perspective, and then people can learn and shape their own thinking around that. There were some people that say that they provide almost like a college environment, and teachers can pick their tracks. So at the end of a school year, like right now, teachers through their feedback with their administrator would start to identify their strengths, their passions, and their their possible deficits, and then they would start to map out what kind of track they might be on for next year.
I think that's called area of growth, Dave, just to be politically
Not deficit?
correct.
Okay,
Area
I'm
of
sorry.
growth. Yeah.
Their growth opportunity, yes.
We all have areas of growth, friends. They're not deficits. Areas of growth.
Yes, fair enough. And then they can pick their track or their lane to pursue PDN next year. That's an interesting one. A lot of people just do like a menu of options. And they say, here's the menu, and you can pick if you're going to do stuff after school or on these days. And it's almost like a catalog, and you can pick and choose. And then there are others that say, this is our universal theme. This is the thing we're going to cover all year. Here's where we're going to be tracking. Here are the days and the times that we're doing things. And within each of those, we'll place you at the level that best fits you or with the team that best fits you. But this is our core competency that we're all going to be focused on. So
lots of options.
Yeah. What is your choice?
Well, I don't know that I have a choice. I guess I think that a lot of options could work depending on the approach. Right. So, just, I love the school district I'm in. I really love the building I'm in. I have incredible respect for my administrator. I think he's one of the smartest people on the planet, but I do see some areas of growth in the professional development that I've sat in, right? I mean, like that's
not deficits, areas of growth.
Areas of growth.
Okay.
And I actually don't think that anybody would necessarily disagree. Like we all see that there are gaps and holes. And sometimes guys, and I hate to say this, but like sometimes there's gaps and holes that we just don't have time to fix right now, or we don't have the priority to fix them right now. So we identify them as areas of growth, but they're not necessarily making progress. I guess I have two things that I struggle with. And granted, I've been in the same district for over 8 years. So like this wasn't, I have worked in another district before, but the one specifically, there is a mentality where I work that we need to learn from each other, which I wholeheartedly believe in. I love learning from my colleagues. And I actually moved to the building I work in right now because I knew good teachers were there and I wanted to learn from them. But I think with that mindset comes a little bit of balance. I would love to have some like new breath of fresh air from other people, only because like I know my colleagues are geniuses. So I don't wait for institute days to learn from them. I go and learn from them all the time. So sometimes it's nice to have an outsider come in to share their thoughts. And another thing is I have this incredible friend, Jill Kittner. She is so smart. She teaches art, but she has like an incredible background in special ed. I mean, this teacher is like the teacher that every building would fight for. And she did, I think, for a master's program, or she did some project that she brought into our building where she created Eagles University, we're the Eagles. And every year in kind of like how you were saying, there's a multitude of topics and there's a few facilitators and everyone gets to choose what cohort they're in for that year. And sometimes there's book studies, sometimes there's conversations, but really it's an intentional time a few times a semester where you get together with that same group and you discuss things. Like right now, I'm a part of a group with, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Katie Miglin, throw it in the thing. It's executive functioning. That's what my group is. A great topic, right? Is that bad?
I love how you said, I'm blanking on it. Throw it in the thing. But carry on. Sorry.
Throw it in the thing, like the chat is what I meant. She's in the group with me, executive functioning. And there's some humor that I couldn't think of it, even though executive functioning would have allowed me to think of that. Anyway. But I do think that while I love this group, there's not enough structure that I think we're all getting out of it what I hope we get out of it. And so what I'm finding in my narrative that I've just shared with you is like, there really is a balance between too much structure and not enough structure in professional development, because I love the ability to collaborate with my colleagues. And in both situations, I do get to do that. But there's also a little bit of like desire for intentionality. There's also some desire for a little bit of accountability and, elements like that I think could be offered in a little bit of a different way to continue to add to the value of the learning we're doing in the space I'm in.
Yeah, it is that sweet spot that we're all craving, right? It's at some point in some places, I've been a part of schools where we've argued that the experts are among us and we're just going to continue to learn in-house. But I've come to start calling those Facebook schools, because like within Facebook, you can only see the people that you agree with. You only see the people that resonate with you, because Facebook doesn't want you to leave. They want you to stay there. That's where all their ad dollars come from. And some schools operate the same way. They want to protect you and insulate you. And the experts are right here. Let's just learn from each other. And then there's the other end that says, we're not doing anything right. We need to go get all the experts to come in and feed us. Where the reality is sometimes we need a new perspective to push us and challenge us, and then to unite us so that we can all collectively grow. So it's not just one person from the chosen one from our school leading all of us to the pasture. We all need to grow together. So.
Right. And I do think it truly is a balance, because the first district I worked in, nobody could do anything right. And we only brought people in. Now this district I work in is the complete other side. And the only smart ideas are in the school district. And like I said, Dave, it really comes down to the balance, because my colleagues are geniuses. And I know that I work at a school that's abnormal. Like, I know it's weird that I truly believe the teachers I work with are so smart, and I have so much to learn from them. I understand that sometimes staff doesn't always get along or even know what's going on in their classrooms. I know the people I work with are so smart, but that can't only be it. So if I'm going to learn from them Monday through Friday because I'm making the point to go learn from them, then occasionally it is nice to get a different perspective, which is kind of what I get from Teach Better, to be honest. Like that's kind of my side bubble. So
there you go.
Anyway. All right. Sorry. I know that we just went on a tangent, but I do think discussing PD and getting teacher voice in that process is important. So maybe if you're listening right now and you have an opinion on this, go share it with somebody in your school district. Maybe they'll listen to you.
There you go. There you go.
Why not? But it'll be good. Dave, we've been live for an hour.
Holy cow.
We've covered a lot.
It's past your bedtime, right?
It is. And we've been twinning successfully for an hour, which I think is really good. What is going on this week before we leave? Oh, can we spoil something really quick?
Are you asking my permission? Because the answer is always yes.
I'm asking your permission. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Coming out tomorrow, which I don't think anybody knows about. At least I don't think anybody knows about it, is we're announcing a webinar this summer that we're putting on.
Yeah.
That's officially tomorrow. We're announcing that.
It's exciting.
So, I'm really excited. So guys, we're doing a spoiler. Feel free to share this feed if you like tell your friends to go listen to the hour and a minute in, and you can hear this spoiler. But we are doing a June grid method webinar where you can partner with be with a member of the Teach Better team and build a grid for, I think it's 4 weeks, 8 sessions. It's like a Monday, Wednesday matchup. It won't be the only webinar that we have. Don't worry, guys. There's plenty of webinars that will be offered this summer, but this one I'm excited about because I get to lead it, and it's all about the grid method. So if you're somebody who's new to the grid method world, welcome to the party. Let's design a grid together. I'm really excited for that.
That is epic. So people can hang out with you in June while you're figuring out your new routine, and they can learn about the grid method at the same time.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because hopefully, it's a webinar to learn, but it's also a webinar with time to work. Like, the goal is that at the end of the 4 weeks, you have a complete grid. It should be done. So they're going to get an expert to teach them something. They're going to be part of this little cohort group of people all learning together, and then they can also go share it with other people they work with. That sounds like that sweet spot you were just talking about, Ray. And we're going to focus a lot on getting people feedback in the moment. Because, Dave, I don't know about you. I know you spend a lot of time on phone calls with people. I do too. A lot of my phone calls are, hey, can you look at this for me? Like, literally, this webinar is us sitting down and saying, here's some feedback on what you're working on. So I think it should be really fun. That starts, I think, the second week of June. I apologize, I don't have the dates in front of me. But it's like June 14th-ish, third week of June. I want to say it's the third week of June, June 14th.
June 14th. That is it. June 14th.
Yes. It's a Monday.
It's Flag Day, people. Flag Day. And the grid method. Come on.
Done. We also have then all the typical stuff this week, guys. That's the big announcement that's coming out tomorrow. But we also have Mastermind on Tuesday, like we just talked about. You can register for that at teachbetter.com/mastermind to get all the details. And then we have Brain Break on Wednesday. Ugh. But, that's a thing. Just kidding.
You're a closet fan.
I am. I'm a fan. We have Teach Better Chat. Oh, my God. That's huge this week. Dave, Teach Better Chat is officially launching. New hashtag, new format starts the 20th. That's this week.
Is this week the 20th? Oh my goodness.
Yes, May 20th.
Holy cow. Okay.
I know. We've been talking about this, and this is like, it's happening. So
Wow.
I don't even know who the host is. Dave, look it up. Who's the host?
I'm going to,
But literally, guys, it's a different format. So it used to be an hour long with a half an hour recap afterwards. It's now a half an hour long over on Twitter, only 4 or 5 questions. And then we do a half an hour recap with the host. So it's a full hour of learning, which I'm really excited for. I don't know who is hosting.
Hold that thought. Milk this for another 30 seconds. I'll see what I can get for us.
So it's going to be cool. It's on
Hold on.
Thursday,
This can't be accurate. Is it?
Eastern. I don't know.
It says Kevin Butler.
No, it's not. Is it?
That's what I have.
Dude, now I feel like I have to double check you. Kevin Butler's
You better double check it. I'm just saying. That's what I see.
Oh my God, it is Kevin Butler. He's hosting Teach Better Chat. Woo!
Boom! I'm so glad that was right because I was like, oh my gosh, I just put up a big name there and we just put him on the spot.
That's awesome. And you guys can see all those details at teachbetter.com/teachbetter. What is the hashtag? What is the new website URL? I should know that. Just go to teachbetter.com/masterychat and it will redirect to the new website, I'm sure. But that new format starts the 20th. I know that that's this week. That's a big deal. That's awesome. I don't know, some other stuff I'm sure are happening, but that's it, guys. I don't know. They'll be good.
That's a lot.
Anyway,
that's a lot.
Dave, I hope that you have a good week. And you know,
I will. I get to see you a few more times, I'm sure. So it's all good.
I get to meet you in person in a few weeks too.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm pumped about that.
I'm really excited.
I can't believe it's like first time. That's crazy.
I know, we've never met ever in person.
So crazy.
I'm still envisioning you. I'm like trying to get like your height in my mind.
I'm 6'8". No, I'm not. I'm
picturing you like 5'1". Are you good with 5'1"?
I'll take it. We'll start with 5'1", and then I don't know. Yeah, 5'1" works.
How are you, Dave? This is a very important question before we leave. I don't even care that we're 6 minutes over.
Well, it depends. Most people would say I'm 5'10". Like on my driver's license, though, I say I'm 5'11". But 5'10" is what the tape measure says. Yeah.
Almost 6 foot. Okay.
I'll take. Sure. Almost 6 foot. Let's go with that. I like that better.
On my driver's license, it says I'm 5'3", but I'm really 5'2". But on a good day, I can stand up really tall and be 5'3". All right, guys. This has gone on too long. This is not Brain Break. We love you all. We wish you nothing but an incredible week to all of our friends out there. And if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. Dave and I are always here to help, as well as everybody on the Teach Better family. We love you guys. So have a great week, guys. See you later.